What's up, Dr. J? We're back again on the podcast with today's episode is on Leveling Up by Ryan Leak. So we're gonna start with names.
I'm Fisher.
My name's Zach.
I'm MJ.
I'm David.
My name's Grace.
And yeah, what'd you guys learn from the book?
So I learned that one thing you could do, which is probably one of the most obvious points, is to give people credit. You know, there is a quote that says the most self-made person in the world had quite a bit of help becoming who he or she is, which is on page 52. You want to look at it more, it says, and I even just said it on here just for the sake of it, this means that no matter how hard one works, we all need help getting from point A to point B, as it is nearly impossible to get anywhere on our own. Therefore, what it also insinuates is that when someone says something like, you know, like, hey, like this person, or no, when anyone says something like, hey, I got to this point for my, you know, by myself, you know, and I only had myself, I only had my own stuff. This is essentially insinuating that is not normally the case. You know, like even like the best athlete in the world, you know, had a coach, you know, you know, or like, or you know, just the list just goes on, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, yeah.
What about you, Zach?
Well, I just think like that, what Dave was saying was really important because like, at least with football, you know what I mean? Like, it's a big team sport and like a person could have an interception or have a sack, make a sack, whatever, right? But it's not, we don't take credit on ourselves. We like give it to our teammates because they're the ones that got us there. They're the one that did something to have it open for us.
It's not an individual sport, it's a team.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's how like everything is.
Yeah, that's how life is.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
God made us to be in community with each other and to help each other out for every aspect of life.
I like that.
What was your biggest takeaway, Zach, from the book?
Mine was that self-reflection is very important. So on page 16, it just said like, they're just talking about like people like that you've worked with. So for example, it says like, have you ever worked with someone who simply wasn't self-aware? They'd hit reply all on emails at all the wrong times. They'd had a habit of extending the length of meetings by rambling about things that added zero value to the team or project. They lacked the emotional intelligence to read a room or read a Zoom. They had a reputation for being rude, but saw themselves as kind. So I think like what I took away is just take a moment to like just pause and reflect and be more about others than yourself. And then on page 21, it also said like, they were talking about different examples of like, if my friends would just, if my boss would just like do this, if my leader would just do this, if my employees would just do this. But Ryan Leak came up with a point saying the truth is the world would be a better place if we would just. So it's more of like, stop blaming other people, look at yourself and come together as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's a great point.
Thanks.
What about you, Fisher? What's your biggest takeaway?
I took away that you need to like continually improve in your life, and whether that's not like chasing wins, it's just like chasing improvement. So I think it said on page 46, as you try to improve yourself, there will be moments of great triumph balanced out by some really low points. It can be a roller coaster, but you can't get on that ride. So you just need to stay steady. You need to work for gradual improvement rather than highs and lows. You need to work on yourself and you're improving, not chasing wins, stats, whatever that may be. And then also another thing I thought of was that you need to believe in yourself and you need to believe that you're the GOAT of your own life. Michael Jordan said on page 30, every day I demand more for myself than anybody can humanly accept. I'm not competing with someone else, I'm competing with what I'm capable of. So without looking around at other people, you just need to look at yourself and how you can self-improve.
Yeah, and I agree with like the first thing you said because you just have to take it day by day, and if you're not like, and you're too hard on yourself, expecting too much to accomplish, then like that can be really damaging. So yeah.
And in the book of Ecclesiastes, I forget who wrote it, but basically it's this guy and it's a prophet talking about like, he's just trying to find the meaning of life, and he's tons of money, can do whatever he wants, but he all just says like you said, chasing the wind, and he comes up with that a lot. It's all just like chasing the wind, and our coaches have talked about it like, I could oh, I'll be happy once I get good grades in this class, or I'll be happy once I become a starter, and then you're there, and then you're not fulfilled, and you're not like, it's all chasing the win. So yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, like there's always gonna be something else.
Right,
You can always be better.
You're
you
never
can
gonna be
always-
satisfied
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
if you're just trying to go for achievements and goals, because there's always gonna be something better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, MJ?
Yeah, so that actually ties into my point about having a clear purpose and goal of success. Everyone looks at success differently. Some people that's money, some people that's traveling or whatever, but you just need to find out what that is for you, because otherwise you're never gonna fully be fulfilled. One quote in the book is, to find true success is to understand where your current definition of success comes from and make it yours. So I feel like this just kind of has to do with knowing what you want in your life, but then also making sure to include God in that and helping him define your success. And then another quote, you can't know for sure whether you are following your own North Star unless you are able to move from an external definition of success from an internal version of success to an external one. So like, maybe you have everything together on the outside, but if you don't have peace and you don't have contentment, then are you really succeeding in your own life?
That was beautiful.
That's good. Yeah. I think we are, as humans, are more happy in this life if we're content with the situation we're in. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what God calls us to do, is be content in every season. Even if you're struggling a lot, try to be content, because that's what he wants for you.
Totally.
Yeah. What about you, Grace?
I noticed that there was a lot about like taking ownership with like your life decisions, growth, failure, and potential. In chapter 5, the humility questions, what mistakes can I own? So in this chapter, it's really just talking about like owning up to your mistakes, and that like being right all the time isn't the only answer. And I feel like a lot of people have a fear of being wrong and judged, and it's embarrassing to be wrong, but you have to live up to it and own it. And on page 64, one of the notes was that in those moments, our inclination is to blame the other parties involved, but the real growth for us lies with owning your part. And so like owning up to not even just like everything else that's going in the book, but specifically on like yourself and your mistakes, your actions, it helps you grow a lot more as a person. And you have to realize like when you mess up, so.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other takeaways?
I think this book just is a lot about like growth and your future with success, like, yeah, and I think it's a great book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really love it, because
Yep.
Ryan Leake used to speak at Eagle Brook, and that's like the church I go to, and he's like living in Texas now. He's writing books and doing a bunch of different stuff, but he used to be one of the main pastors at Eagle Brook, and I love him so much.
Yeah.
He's such a good speaker, and it's really cool to just read what he truly thinks about
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also just like the setup, like each chapter was a question. It's like,
Yeah,
this is how you should answer this question and what
Yeah,
you should think about.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And how it's set up of like wanting you to reflect on yourself and not just being like, this is how you should live your life.
Yeah,
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I think that's all for today. That was our podcast, and we hope you enjoyed.
Thanks for watching, Dr. J.